I'm with Dr. Tricia Miller from CAMRA, Committee of Accuracy in Middle East Reporting. Now, you're here in Jerusalem. Why are you here at this time?
Well, it's good to be with you. Thank you for having me. I'm here. I've actually been here almost 4 weeks. I had this trip planned before the what's being called a peace deal was arranged between Israel and with the other nations involved, but I actually arrived in Tel Aviv on October 12th, and so I was staying in Tel Aviv with the idea of maybe having a couple days just of slow time because I came from a week in London, but I happened to be there right in time for being able to be in Hostage Square on the 13th when all 20 living hostages were released, and that was really a very moving and informative experience.
Yeah, that must have been quite something just to see the celebrations and the people just waiting for news. Did you also see Air Force One?
Yes, I did. I happened to have a hotel room that looked out on the beach in Tel Aviv, and it happened to be over where they put the big sign on the beach saying, thank you to Trump and celebrating. And then Air Force One flew low and slow over the beach where that sign was. So I saw the plane go by, then I went to Hostage Square and just was able to feel the emotions and what people were feeling and thinking.
Now, you obviously didn't know all this was going to happen, so do you feel it was the providence of God, the hand of God, right at this very time?
Yes, it was, because the trip had been planned for quite a while. And as I said, I was in London for almost a week before I came, and that was my scheduled arrival date was October 12th, that Sunday.
What have you been doing here since you've been here for this time?
I have had a lot of meetings, a lot of talking with Israelis, really wanting to understand what they're feeling now, what they're thinking, just getting a pulse of the people. It's been a very unique time for me to have a lot of one-on-one time.
And you're also here at the Christian Media Summit. How has the summit been?
The summit's been wonderful, yeah, and then this is the end of my trip, is this week, and I'm speaking tonight at the dinner, but it's been a phenomenal experience to see Christians in media from many countries around the world come together in support of Israel.
What are you speaking on tonight?
I'm speaking on Christian Zionism as an antidote to Jew hatred and opposition to Israel.
Is this a very important message, particularly at the moment when you hear things from like Tucker Carlson, what he's saying?
Yes, and I am bringing Tucker Carlson into what I'm saying because what he's done is just outrageous. He's been outrageous for a while, but in the last week, he gave a platform to Nick Fuentes, just a horrible, horrible anti-Semite, admirer of Stalin and Hitler. And Tucker is just giving people like this a platform and being very anti-Semitic, very anti-Israel.
Do you think he's doing it for clicks, or is he doing it because he actually believes this himself?
That's hard to say. I mean, I'm sure he wants the clicks, but it's hard to say. I'm not inside his mind, and he is very different than he used to be years ago.
Has it been important to gather all the Christian media here to Jerusalem to hear about the land and travel around the land as well?
Yes, so during the day they have had the plans for us to go to all parts of the country. And that's been very, very informative for everyone here. A lot of people haven't been here before. It's been very informative.
How important is the Christian Media Summit?
I think it's critical. Christian support for Israel is absolutely imperative, and we must strengthen that. And that's why I'm speaking on Christian Zionism, even though I'm speaking tonight to a room full of Christian Zionists. I mean, they wouldn't be here if they weren't in support of Israel, but just stressing, giving them information and arguments to use to strengthen their cause and be able to be strong supporters of Israel.
Now, you're the Director of Partnership of Christians and Jews. How important is that bond and partnership?
It's extremely important. The history between Jews and Christians has been tragic for at least 1,800 years, since the 1st or 2nd century. In the last 40, 50 years, there's been reconciliation going on and building bonds. It's extremely important for Christians to understand the roots of their faith, and Jews need the support of Christians because we are much larger in number, and Christians must understand the biblical and historical reasons to stand with the Jewish people.
Now, you're exposing the media. Since October the 7th, has it been a media war for you getting the truth out there?
Yes, it's been intense for anyone concerned on these issues since October 7th. There have always been lies and propaganda told about Israel, blood libels, but since October 7th, ever since the day after, really, the accusations that started, the genocide, famine, Israel's trying to, create a humanitarian crisis, on, all of which has been proven to not be true, all of which we knew wasn't true at the time. We already had the facts, and so it's been a constant battle of answering the lies.
Do you feel like you've been fighting a war as well?
Yes, we've all been at war. Anybody who cares about Israel and about the truth and just about justice. You know, there's a lot of talk about justice in the world, but what about justice for the Jewish people? That's always left out.
Do you think now there needs to be a change and focus for Israel? Because Israel's always very good when it comes to war and fighting a battle. They always win. But do you think they need to change their strategy now when it comes to fighting the media war? Because they always seem to lose the media war.
Yeah, I don't know, and I can't speak for Israel. I don't know what they should do or need to do, but yes, they do lose the media war, that's for sure. And we all talk about there's really been this is a war on 8 fronts. You know, other people talk about the 7 fronts, the physical fronts, the different terrorist organizations that are against Israel, but the media war is actually the most sinister and the most dangerous.
Is it anti-Semitism or is it ignorance?
I think it's both. I think the foundation of it all is anti-Semitism. Israel is completely held to a double standard. There is a complete double standard when it comes to talking about anything in relation to Israel, and that's intentional. That's obvious. If there's ignorance involved, it's just fed by the fact that there's already a predisposition to just be, if it involves Jews or Israel, they must be wrong.
Do people actually care about genocide? Because we hear in Sudan that there's genocide, we hear in Nigeria that there's genocide, yet there's not the people on the streets marching and protesting, there's no youth camps outside. So do people really care?
No, they don't care. It was an issue being used to be anti-Israel. And also within Israel, there's been political forces that have been anti-Bibi. Anything that can be used to be anti-Israel, or even within Israel, anti-Bibi. The final proof that these people who've been protesting do not care about genocide and do not care about the Palestinian people, who they claim to be advocating for, is how silent they've been since Israel withdrew from part of the Gaza Strip. Hamas has taken control of those areas again where the IDF has left, and they have been shooting their own civilians, and nobody's saying anything.
How is the church when it comes to Israel? Are they swallowing the Palestinian narrative?
Yes, unfortunately, there is one of my main concerns in the work that I do is the fact that the church is losing the clear understanding that they've had before. They have been influenced by the media, especially social media is so virulent right now, and it's so easy to tell a lie. And then it takes time for those of us who want to expose the truth to gather the facts and counter the lie. But anybody can tell a lie. And on social media, anybody can be an expert. And yes, people are being influenced by lies.
Does that mean that camera needs to change to reach out to some of these groups that are believing the lies?
Yeah, camera is really going through a whole reformation of our approach to social media, and much, much more attention is being put on social media.
Do some of these people, do they actually want to hear the truth? Or do they just want to follow that lie and don't really care?
I think the majority of people are reasonable, and you can talk to them, and in many cases they're uninformed. There are a small percentage of people who you cannot, it doesn't matter, don't bother them with the facts. They don't want to hear the facts. But the vast majority of people, even if they have this predisposition to be anti-Semitic, just because it's been so prevalent for thousands of years, it's just there. Anti-Semitism is there. But they will listen to facts if you can give them the facts.
Are the people different here since the war than the last time that you were here?
Yes. One of the things I did this time here was spend about 6 days in Tiberias. It was primarily vacation time for me. I did work some, but I wanted to take some time off and just be in the Galilee, go to all of the Christian sites in the Galilee. It was a refreshing time for me, but I've never actually stayed in Tiberias. And so that was a different experience, and it was a wonderful window into another part of Israeli society. And what I found was the people are very insular. When you're in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, they're much more used to tourists or foreigners or people. But in Tiberias, they're not really. There's a different sense here. There's more of a sense of they've drawn the wagons, they've circled the wagons because of the last 2 years of how much hatred has been expressed around the world, that I do feel like they do feel that everyone hates them.
How is the situation in America, and particularly you're from Florida? We've just seen as well today that Mandami has won the mayoral election. Are Jews very fearful in America today?
Yes, well, Jews have been fearful for the last 2 years. Anti-Semitism everywhere in America has been worse. Most Jews are not wearing any symbol of their Judaism when they go out in public, especially on campuses. They're at risk. But that's definitely increased in the last 2 years. And now with Mandami winning in New York, Jews of New York are very concerned.
Donald Trump is a very interesting character. Some people love him, some people hate him. How has he been as far as Israel's concerned?
I think he's been the most pro-Israel president that we've had. I think he's done a lot of good things. He's not perfect, and I'm not in agreement with everything, and I'm especially concerned right now about this, the so-called peace plan that he says he's brought peace, but there isn't peace. And as I've talked to every single Israeli, I've been here 4 weeks now, it's unanimous. I mean, nobody thinks that this is really peace. And in the Muslim mind, it's just a pause. It's a chance for Hamas to regroup, to rearm, and attempt to do what they did on October 7th, to do it again and again.
You don't think they're going to disarm at all?
No, they have stated it themselves. They have no intention of disarming.
What is your prayer for the Holy Land at this time?
Well, we're commanded in Psalms to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. All Christians should be praying for the peace of Jerusalem, praying for the peace of Israel, but to pray for protection for the Jewish people worldwide, and to pray for wisdom for all the leaders involved. My concern about some of the Western leaders involved in this is they don't really understand the Middle Eastern mind. They don't understand the Muslim mind. They don't understand what Muslims mean when they say that they're agreeing to something. They're just looking for a chance to regroup, rearm. And so pray for wisdom for all the leaders involved.
What's your website for people who'd like to know more about the work that you do?
It's www.camera.org. We also have a website for the Partnership of Christians and Jews, and that's cameraspartnership.org.
You're all over social media as well.
Yes. Camera has been uniting all of the different departments within Camera as one Camera, social media, and so we are getting much more. Each department is getting much more exposure now on social media.
Well, Tricia, thank you very much for sharing today.
Well, thank you for having me.